Let me next introduce a very prominent attorney from Montgomery County, Peter Kahn, who has done a tremendous amount of research on wireless issues and is going to speak to some of the legal issues that are in play right now with 2201. Peter, come on up.
Thank you, Rick. Glad to be here. Thank you guys for being here. I'm here today to talk a little bit about some of the legal issues surrounding antennas in Montgomery County. And I am happy to tell you that today, 4 years after the FCC first announced the small cell order, that the effort to inundate America with small cell antennas faces some serious obstacles. And there are serious questions about the legitimacy of that effort. First, can the FCC really force local communities all over the country to accept whatever wireless antennas some telecom decides it wants to install? The language of the Telecom Act of 1996 is clear. A local community may reject a proposal for wireless antennas unless doing so would create an effective prohibition of all voice service in that area. Nearly all the federal appellate courts, including the Fourth Circuit here in Maryland, have agreed for years what that language means. For a telecom to prevail on an application that the community doesn't want to grant, the telecom would have to show that there is no other practical way for residents of that community to get wireless access. The recent decision of Exonet versus the City of Flower Hill in New York makes it clear that despite the FCC's edict, the small cell order, local jurisdictions do indeed have the power to say no to small cells. That is as true in Maryland as it is in the Fourth Circuit Federal Court of Appeals as it was in New York. So we did not have to enact ZTA 1907. That zoning amendment gave virtual carte blanche to the placement of small cell antennas throughout our county. Falsely, and the county council falsely claimed they had no choice but to do so under federal law. They were wrong, and they misled us. A second problem for the FCC is something Rick mentioned, the failure to consider the safety of their proposals. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit ruled last year in the Environmental Health Trust case that no federal agency had even looked at the question of safety and human health in a generation. The court ordered the FCC to review that vast body of evidence and determine whether wireless radiation really is safe for human health. Our county council members downplayed residents' concerns about the safety of these small cell antennas so close to our homes, and they told us that everything was fine. The truth is, they had not even bothered to look at the evidence. We were misled. Today, we're facing yet another change to the zoning code, ZTA 2201, and there's something fishy here too. We've been told by council members that this is just a simple technical fix to what they passed last year, 1907, to ensure that there aren't a lot of new poles erected in the county. But it turns out that no new poles have been erected since 1907 was passed. The basic reason we've been given for 2201 is like the proverbial monster under the bed. It just isn't real. And what did we discover would be the actual effects of 2201? Not only would it bring those small cell antennas a mere 30 feet from our bedrooms, it would make at least 30,000 more existing poles, utility poles, eligible to hold small cell antennas throughout the county, making the new poles essentially irrelevant. This new ZTA doesn't protect us from anything. It makes the problem worse. So look, there's a pattern here. Excuse me. We were told by the council that 2201, we needed 2201 to avoid the proliferation of poles, and that was not true. We were told we had to adopt 1907 to comply with federal law, but that was not true. And we were told to trust the FCC on the safety issue, but that was not reasonable either. So there's a pattern. I'm not sure why, but the fact is we have been misled over and over again by our county council. I, for one, will find it hard from this point forward to trust anything that this county council tells us about small cell antennas in our county, or the justifications they offer for actions that, intentionally or not, serve the interests of the telecom industry and not the best interests of our residents. Thank you.